Good morning, YouTube, on this wonderful 17th of February. And it's approximately 3 minutes, according to my computer. I keep looking at the clock, but the computer tells me exactly. Now it's 9:04. This morning, I wanted to do real quick and try to get this done as quickly as possible. This is for a VR for Pipecat and his 200 sub draw that he's got. As of earlier this morning when I checked his channel, I got his late or very early this morning. I got his information on that he was doing the draw. So I thought I would get on here and do this real quick. And he was at 208 by the time we started all doing this. So congratulations there, Pipecat, Mr. Larry. Hope that was okay. But he asked a few questions. Here he went through 5 different questions that he wanted us to answer as quickly as we possibly can, not draw this thing out. And I'm going to try to do this basically in a kind of a different order here than what he said. He said he didn't care what type of order that we put it in. But the first one I want to do real quick is my passion. I want to do that real quick first. And he said something that people learn about when they meet you and you start talking. That is a passion that I have that I want people to understand and they learn about me. That I have a passion for love of my wife and the responsibility and love and the taking care, even though I'm many miles and miles away from this fantastic lady. That's my mom. I call her several times a week when I can remember and not busy with just pure life. So that's what I like people to learn about me is family, my wife and my mom. We don't have any children per se. We've got grandchildren, and that's another story, but I won't get into that. I want to make this as short as possible. And I wanted to say that that's what people learn about me. Family is hugely important to me. The other thing was a movie quote that so that Pipecat can go look at it and say, "Oh yeah, it did come from that movie." I want to do the quote before I do where it came out of the movie. I have to do it this way because the quote has a meaning to me that goes with everything in my life. That people that become very special to me, and a lot of you folks in a YouTube community that becomes very special to me. This is something that hit me the first time I ever watched this program. Basically, when it originally came out, it's always been with me because I've been a fan of this series from the very beginning till through all the movies that have ever been made. So, with that being said, here's the quote. Now, I hope you folks that realize understand this particular movie, you'll understand where it's coming from. The quote is, "I have been and always shall be your friend. Live long and prosper." And that hits me that when I say that, I know that I'm copying the quote, but it's heartfelt for me when I say that to friends. And I've said it in different ways on the YouTube community, but it hits me hard every time that I think about that in that particular scene. And I will say Spock, when he went in and saved the ship and got them warp drive so they could get out of the way of the Genesis effect when they shot Khan shot off the Genesis device into the star, moon, whatever it was, and created or exploded on the ship and made a new world. Okay, and that was out of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That saying has stuck with me forever. That's my famous movie quote, and where you can find it, and that's towards the end of the movie, that scene where Spock got the lithium crystals realigned so that they could get warp drive to get away from the explosion. Okay. Now, the other one was the selfless act that a person did for you. Okay. The selfless act was I worked for a particular company and they sold firearms, and I was a counter person, or they called us outfitters, and I sold firearms. I love selling firearms. Firearm is a huge passion with me. When you get to truthfully know me, you will learn that the outdoors, hunting, the shooting sports, firearm shooting sports, the working on firearms, reloading side of all that, it's a passion with me. Okay, you'll learn that. But while I was at the counter one day, a lady came up and started talking to me about ammunition and stuff, and firearms and things. And I noticed that she was wearing a denim shirt, like a denim jacket, but it was a shirt actually, and it had little pieces of material sewn on it. I mean, like patch material sewn all over the place with with teddy bears embroidered all over it. Okay, I said you just met a man that's got more stuffed teddy bears and animals than any man should have. Now I'm just saying that because I've collected them for years. So that was kind of a passion of mine. I said, I mean, that just blows me away. I love that. I thought that is the neatest thing I've ever seen. She says, well, my sister makes them just for presents and giveaways and this, that, and the other. Said she made it for her. Said she takes pictures out of books and stuff and makes patchwork, embroidered or needle needlework, whatever, on all these shirts. It's a beautiful, fantastic. I just love teddy bear type stuff. Okay. In passing, while we were talking, we let that subject go. We got back on the subject of the firearms and stuff real quick. And just nonchalantly, she asked me, "Well, what shirt size did you wear?" And I said, "Well, no, not expecting you to do anything." She says, "Well, no, I'm just curious what shirt size you wear. I see you're fairly large." And at that time, I was wearing size 2X and tall or long or whatever shirts. I told her that. I said, "But don't do anything." I said, "No, I'm just asking you a question." Okay. In a roundabout way, let's get this going real quick here. Uh, I'm talking about at least a good month or month and a half went by. And the selfless act was she walked in with a very, very expensive denim shirt that through a roundabout way she found out what my wife's name was, and she already had figured out my name. And she did something that I just didn't know about. I don't know where or how we got the conversation. She found out my wife's and I anniversary, when the date that and the year that we got married and all that stuff. And her sister did a needlepoint denim shirt for me. And one of the little patches that was on it of a teddy bear was two teddy bears together holding hands and walking type thing with our anniversary date, the date that we were married, underneath it. I about fell apart. Selfless act of kindness. We just struck up a conversation. We only talked once, maybe twice. Unbelievable. Okay, real quick. About 2 or 3 years or so later, which was almost 2 years now late, um, I I was diagnosed with cancer, esophageal cancer. Okay, I had to go to from Montana to Denver, Colorado, to have the surgery done to take care of the esophageal cancer. So far, I'm cancer free. I just want to throw that out there real quick. But what I'm getting at there is I told her to just keep me in her thoughts and her prayers because I just passing that on because I think the power of prayer is there. Believe you me, I believe in that. But with that being said, um, all of a sudden, a few days before I was going to be taking my medical leave from the place that I was working at, the gun counter there, and this she calls me up and says, "Hey, can I see you out in the parking lot? Can you sneak away from the counter for just a few minutes?" So I was at work when this happened. Okay, it's a selfless act. We did not discuss this. We talked to each other every once in a great while. She'd bump into me. She'd coming in to buy ammo for the firearms that I sold her, and this, that, and the other. We kind of developed an acquaintance and a friendship through work, and I mean a good, solid friendship. Let me put it that way. I go out to the parking lot, and she says, "I've got you something." She hands it to me, and it's a throw type blanket that her and her sister hand sewed, put together with I don't know how many patches on it. I mean, this was a quilt work type, throw type, blanket that you would sit there on the couch with, that type of thing. She said, "This is for you when you go in for your surgery and however long you're in the hospital, as kind of a little bit of a security blanket, and for you to think about that there's people praying for you and thinking about you." And it had patchwork there again of needlepoint teddy bears all over this blanket in the squares of how the blanket was made. Selfless act. Didn't ask for it. Didn't expect it. Going in for surgery. You talk about keeping your spirits up high and being humbled when people do things for you like that. That's my shout out to something that somebody's done for a selfless act for me. I slept with that thing the whole time that I was there in the hospital, even in the emergency. I mean, in the intensive care. I kept that blanket with me. That was letting me know in my mind to help me heal that people were thinking about me in a selfless act. That's my selfless act one. Now, the the one that's kind of hard to do, and I wanted to do all these shout outs um, real quick. The disastrous experience was I was going to the Votech in our area here, trying to become an auto mechanic. So I was going to auto mechanic school at the time, and I met this young lady, and this is going to be real quick. And we got acquainted a little bit, very, very little bit. And I asked her out on a first date. And disastrous part of it was I asked her out on a date. She accepted it in a roundabout way. She accepted and said, yeah, she'd go out. So when I went to pick her up on the date, she broke the date right there and says, "I don't want to go out with you. Um, I'm in a relationship with somebody else." This is after she accepted and was kind of excited about it and everything, and went through a spill of just kind of, "I don't want her." So that was upsetting, and because I was all hyped about going out with her and all that. So that was my disastrous experience. So let me just throw that out there. This is way before I met my wife and stuff. So that was there. Now the one that he did for Lent, the 40-day experience on Lent. This is something that's kind of a dual type thing, that I want to put out there. I am addicted to caffeine. I will have to say that. I don't care how it comes, where it comes from, if it's in natural sodas, which, let me throw this out there, Mountain Dew, one of the highest ones out there, and coffee. The only reason why I drink coffee, not for the flavor of the coffee itself, it's for the caffeine. I drink a lot of a creamer type mixture stuff in the coffee. So I do that, and just to kill the flavor of the coffee. And I mean, there is some good tasting coffees out there. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not a dyed in the wool. I just drink it for the caffeine. So I already drank my cup this morning, so I get the caffeine in me. That would be the hard one, but that would be the one I would true. People could watch me. God could slap me upside the head, but yeah, I would attempt to give it up for 40 days. And I mean, the Lent thing, yes, I would, because I am so addicted to caffeine. Um, I mean, I even some, because of the withdrawal part of it, where you get the severe headaches. Sometimes I have to take the caffeine, or I should say, the migraine medication that has caffeine in it. So there's what I would give up for Lent. So I hopefully that covers everything that you wanted, Pipecat. And that's, hopefully you learned a little bit about me through this, my kind of a nerdness on the movie part of it, because I've seen every episode of the original series through. Now I haven't got to see the last, and there's a couple more coming up that I'm trying to get to and see. But I've got everything up to a certain point so far in the movies too. So let that go, and I'll let you go, folks. And I hope that covers your VR there, Godcat. Love you, man. Thank you for doing this, and good luck for everybody on the VR. Thank you.